I'm Sarah, and we're second-year university students. So I'm studying BMOS at Western University with Ivy AEO status, and I'm studying commerce at the Smith School of Business at Queen's University.
Hey everyone, my name is Jesse. I'm a marketing intern here at GrantMe, and I'm also a first-year student at Western University studying BMOS with also Ivy AEO.
On our Instagram at GrantMe Canada, we ask students to ask us anything about university. We collab with the Guo Twins today to answer your top 10 questions.
Do all university courses make you write essays? So no, it depends on the course. So obviously if you're taking a literature course, then it will require you to do more essay writing. But if you take business like both of us, then most of the time it's just writing case reports, picking a company, figuring out the competitive market, and then giving recommendations. So many universities also do require you to take some essay courses to graduate, and usually you can see this in the course name. For example, Political Science 1020E, and that E just stands for essay course.
How do scholarships work, and how does GrantMe keep track of your scholarship progress? So, how scholarships work, all scholarships work a little bit differently, but most of them require you to do an application, and then it gets reviewed by the scholarship committee, and then hopefully you get accepted. So GrantMe, you're paired with a student success specialist that matches you to over thousands of scholarships through our program, and you're also allowed to get essay editing, feedback, and planning, and scholarship tracking through our program.
What are some tips to writing university applications? Yeah, so great question. So this is like the golden question that I think a lot of you are here for. So we have some really great tips on the university application process, which we have in a channel at the Guo Twins. But our top 5 are, firstly, really try to identify why you want to go to that school, and in particular, like what makes this school different compared to other schools, because you're probably going to apply for some other similar programs. So really try to find that like specific detail about this school that makes them different and that you can weave into your story. For example, you can literally link in like a program that you like at the school, an initiative, and then put that into your story. Exactly. And carrying on from that, number 2 is to, in your supplemental, craft it in a story-like manner. So have a clear beginning, middle, and end. And in your end, talk about what you learned, how you grew personally or professionally, and your impact. So for a third tip is to have 2 to 3 really good examples of your involvement in whatever activity you choose to write about in your supplemental essay. So by good examples, it just means like things that are unique, that are personal to you, and that you actually like actively involved in. So really try to go for activities that you create an impact and like did the most stuff, so you're not just passively like on the side participating, like you're actually organizing and initiating. And number 4 is being able to write in detail what you did and being able to give quantitative statistics about that. So an example would be, don't just say I managed the social media page, but say I created a weekly schedule and created Instagram posts that align with current trends, leading to a 20% increase in social media engagement. So something like that, you want to be clear and specific. So the last tip is probably like the most important one. So really try to be honest in your answer about why you want to go there and why you're interested in that program, in this career field of study, because at this point, like, universities see thousands of applications like every single year. So if you're generic, they can tell. So it's okay to be a little bit more vulnerable and more honest about why you want to go there. So really try to be like as specific and detailed as you can, because if you're generic, you kind of look like every other applicant, and you really want to make yours stand out, because at the same time, you're trying to see if they're a good fit for you, but they're also trying to see if you're a good fit for them.
When do UBC applications open? So for 2023 applicants, they open in early October, and then the first early admission is going to be on December 1st, and then regular admission is January 15th. So make sure you guys start preparing as soon as possible.
Do you have any key study tips for university? So my first one would be to definitely write down all your key dates once you get the syllabus of the course. So like the first chance that you see the syllabus, write it all down. And you can use different apps, but I personally use Notion and Google Calendar. So Google Calendar is just like the calendar that comes with Google, and Notion's like a more aesthetic sort of website app that you can download, and you can like personalize it and make it really pretty. My second tip is to really plan your studying like ideally 2 weeks in advance before an exam. I put ideally because oftentimes it doesn't end up happening, but just, prepare as much time as possible before the exam so you can really study and like actually absorb the information. Lastly, for my tips, take a time-lapse video when you're studying. I just find that helps but it's actually do with your phone, because usually you'll be like on your phone, you might be distracted. So I find that if you take a time-lapse video, which for those of you who don't know, it's just like almost like a National Geographic like recording of you studying. So it just sits there, it just records, at the end, it speeds up everything. But it's like a really fun way to just like record your studying, and you have to kind of be motivated because you want to look back at it and be like, I actually did something.
I think also it's because someone's like looking at, well, it's like in a way someone's looking at you, so it makes you focus more. I think my biggest study tip to add on to all of the things that Selena has mentioned is that if you're stuck on a concept or a question, then ask your professor or your TA like right away. Because if you don't and you decide to just like push it off, then by the time that exams come around, like you'll still be stuck with the concept and the question, and that's like not a position that you want to be in.
The next question we have is any admission tips for McGill? So my biggest tip for McGill is to keep your grades as high as possible. McGill weighs their application very heavily on the grades, so make sure you get a high GPA and you look for extra support if needed. You can look to GrantMe if you need support on essay writing, and if you can look for tutoring or maybe extra support from peers to help boost your marks in those classes.
Internship and co-op opportunities available, and how did you find them? So a lot of the schools will have their own online portals, which companies post their postings on, and that schools like students can apply to. But we found that a key to both of our programs is really the connections and like the people you meet. So a lot of times these are the ones that end up leading to the internships, but there's also a lot of like online job sites like LinkedIn, Indeed, that you can look for jobs on and are usually pretty successful.
And the next thing that we'd probably say is to meet as many people as you can, because you really want to build those connections. So before and when you are applying to jobs, one thing that we found really helpful is to talk to alumni or upper years or just anyone who's in either your program or at your school who's working at the company that you want to apply to, and do a quick coffee chat with them to get a better understanding of their experience and ask them any questions that you may have, because this will be really beneficial for figuring out if you really want to work at this company and just kind of like what are the ins and outs to acing that application.
Yeah, and something to add to that is that really try to do this reaching out when you're in first year, just because when you're in first year, it's kind of like you don't really have much figured out yet. You're only in first year, so when you ask and reach out to people on LinkedIn or just like in general, they won't question if you have like motives of trying to get a job or trying to like use them, I guess, for a connection. So it just makes it easier. So get outreaching, guys.
Exactly.
The next question we have is how many activities do you need for UBC? My personal recommendation is to have 5, because they have a section where it asks you to list 5 activities.
Do the electives you choose in high school matter for university? So if you're in a special program like IB or AP, which are like special academic programs that are pretty common in Canada, you can get transfer credits for your university program. So transfer credits are basically just classes you take in high school that you can then transfer over to university, and then you don't have to take that class or its equivalent again. So it is pretty helpful, and usually you can find a list of like the equivalent on the university website. So with these transfer credits, it can definitely help you to lighten your workload. So if you have these electives and they are transfer credits, we'd recommend you use them if you can.
And an example is that in high school, both of us took IB. So with my program in Queen's Commerce, a lot of upper years have told me that second year is the hardest because of the increased workload. So what I'm doing this year is I'm going to use one of my transfer credits to reduce my coursework, and then that way I can spend more time to work on the courses that I already have.
Yeah, so I think ultimately, unless they're a requirement for your university program, they don't really matter, but a lot of people, like a lot of high school students, end up using them to boost their GPA and boost their grade for when you apply to university.
The final question that we have is, are you happy with your university decision? So I don't actually know, because I haven't actually been to the Western campus yet, but I'm super excited. I heard a ton of great things from students that are already there, and also overall, it looks like a very fun place to be.
Thank you so much for listening. I know the application process can get really stressful, but you got this.
And if you resonated with anything that we've said, then be sure to check out our channel at The Gore Twins. Thank you again to GrantMe for this collab, so that way we can share more of our advice with all of you. Bye!
Thank you for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and good luck in the application process this fall. If you're interested in admissions or increasing your chances of winning a scholarship, make sure you guys check the link down below. Take care on my side.